Hello, I wanted to produce a video for you that went through how to do the analysis part of the social media assignment. Now, what you'll see on screen to start with is I've got the assignment here that you've been working through. Now, we've reached the point in the assignment where we're down to this bit here, this review part. So reviewing the data that's been collected from social media sites about posting and explaining the posts that have been created to the most interaction. Now, we need to do a review. Now, if you look on the criteria, it's the past 6 task. So that's the part where it mentions the first part reviewing. And it also mentions about in merit justifying how it met the purpose and the requirements of the business. So that ties in with justification that your plan actually works. And it also ties in with the distinction part when you evaluate the plan against the requirements. In other words, against the aims and objectives. So bear that in mind when you're going to do this task. Now you remember that I gave you previously, and I'm saying I'm back there again. You remember previously that I gave you the task and a load of data from basically what's come up on BeBusinessBee. So there you go, you see there. I gave you this data, these stats, you got them from Teams. So you've got your YouTube stats, the most popular videos, the age profile. You've got the Facebook stats there for interaction, and then you've got the post with the most interaction. Now that information there, and there's my Twitter stuff there for you. That information there we need to use, and we're going to use that to make some points forward. So in other words, remember what you're doing. You're going to take the data and try and justify how successful it's been. Now in the example, and you can see here, this was done quite well in the example, but really you could do your own style of it. So you're taking the data that you've got, and you're trying to justify what types of posts are successful and why. And the first thing I'd be doing personally is I'd be going to the top of my document and I'd be getting I'd be taking my aims up here, so what the aims were, and I'd be comparing to the stats. Has the aim been achieved according to the stats? So like here, for example, has that enabled me to achieve the aim? What does it say? So I would have gone through and said yes or no, and you can decide yourself. And you would do the same for each one of these platforms. So look back at the aims and suggest, has it helped you achieve the aim? That is literally what it's asking you to do. You are using the data to compare against the aim. So you'd be looking at that data there, watch time gone up. So you might be suggesting that actually it's got more interaction because the watch time's actually gone up, for example. And that might be, well, I think the number of likes has gone up, the number of comments. So that could be an interactive argument. So you might argue there that that's enabled the interactivity levels to go up. So you'd be looking for that and making your own arguments. I'm not going to, as I said before, I'm not going to hammer you on this. You're going to make your own decision. If I manage to do my gender imbalance. Remember that previously to this, it was probably about 60-40 to male to female. So any movement on that is up to you to make an argument and decide the case for. So that's really what you're looking to do at this point here. You could then go further, and that's what was happening down here. So you'll see down here that what went a little bit further, there was a bit of analysis here against what types of posts actually were successful and why. So you can see here about the engagement levels, picking out what sort of posts were successful and why were they successful, linking to your content. So you can just take my data and fit it into what you've got. So the post that you created on whatever was successful because, and notice that the more detail you go into on this stuff and the more you can justify your stats, the more likely you are to achieve the higher grades. And that all comes from, ultimately, if we go back to this bit here, you can see that I keep going back every time. But if you look at the assignment, it all comes back to the higher level skills. If you just want to go for the past criteria, you just have to take that data like I just showed you a minute ago and basically review the data against the interaction level. So in other words, comparing how did each of the posts do, for example, against the user criteria. If you want to go though for the higher levels, you want to take your stats and you want to compare them against your aims and objectives or your criteria. And that's something that you can definitely do. It's going to take a little bit of time though, as I said before. It's one of those things you need to think about and sit down and try and think creatively. How does it achieve that aim and objective? However, you actually have got the time to do that at the moment. So hopefully With this video, with what we talked about before, you're able to obviously sit down, work at your own pace, and obviously make some progress towards making sure you've got that part of the conclusion done. If you need any of these resources, remember they're all on Microsoft Teams and they're all in the various folders. If you're wondering which folders are in, I'll show you now. So you can see there that in the files folder that we've got. So if I was to click files there, so let's go to general first. If you want the assignment, clearly it's in the assignment and it's in assignment 2, that one there. And if you want to get your hands on the stats data, it's in the social media stats. And if you want to see the example, go inside the example folder and you'll find the examples here with all the other resources as well. Hopefully that's going to be useful to you. Any help you need, obviously get in touch with me, but I've decided to make you a video to try and show you what to do.